Greetings and salutations, Dota fans. Welcome into the D2L Western Challenge once again as we look for Empire to take on Fnatic in the front end of a Fnatic doubleheader. And before we get into the matches, we'll, of course, take a look at the lineups. And once again, Fnatic and Empire, the front end of what we have going on today. We're going to have Alliance back in action as well, coming off of their performance against Na'Vi, which was impressive, to say the least, in our latest match. But, you know, Fnatic really is kind of up against it at the moment. The way they've started here in the D2L Western Challenge has been a little slow, and they need to get things going sooner rather than later. As you can see, they're sitting at 0-2 in the overall standings, only 2 points. But, of course, that's the best they could have possibly done in the case of dropping two series like this. They're led by Fly on the hard support, Era, of course, on the hard carry with Hani in mid, No Tail, a star... a support with a lot of star power. Yeah, that's the way I was looking to say it. God, it's early. And, of course, Trixie and out in the off lane. Taking on Empire here today. They also, likewise, got off to a slow start in their D2L play. And, yeah, both of these teams really needing a win. Obviously, Empire in a little bit of a better position as they're already at 2-2, sitting squarely in the middle of the pack. We did invite 8 teams. The top 6 of those 8 will be advancing to postseason play. So Empire looking like they're going to be in a solid position to make a run down the stretch, so long as they can roughly break even. Only 7 series for each team, though. So Empire with just 3 remaining, including their matchup today. They're led by Mag, who's out in the off lane and is real. I mean, honestly, when you look at Empire, many of their players have really finally been getting the notice and recognition that they've deserved for some time. Mag's a phenomenal off-lane player and is finally being recognized as such. Silent in the carry position, of course, can get out of control in a hurry. Then in mid, you have Resolution. And really, Resolution is probably the biggest standout for Empire, at least over the last few weeks or month or so. People are really beginning to get on board with the fact that he is just phenomenal there. Is a big playmaker in an individual sense, but also plays an amazing team game sort of approach to mid, especially when he's on the Invoker. Then you've got Vanscore on the support and the hard support, played by Always Wanna Fly. Well, for me, I'm your host, Aaron AC Chambers, live from our downtown studio. I'll, of course, have Trouf right back on the line. Our first series just about to get underway. Again, Fnatic taking on Empire, and following the conclusion of this, we'll see Fnatic in action again, taking on Alliance. Right now, though, they've only got one team on their mind. We'll find out which team's going to be up to the task to get a win here early on the D2L Western Challenge. Stick with us. We'll be right back. And we're into the draft, coming in about the same time we usually do. We've kind of got this down pat now, coming out just as the first ban phase gets underway after a couple of picks come out on both sides. Fnatic leading off very strong with the Ember Spirit and the Ancient Apparition. Empire, though, gets their hands on the Doom, a fantastic counter to Ember Spirit in and of itself, and a hero that they, along with Roxkus, really, I won't say pioneered. I mean, Dazzle's always been situational, but we've seen Dazzle picked more in the last few weeks or months or so than we did for a long time leading up to this point. And Empire was really one of the first teams on that train. In terms of the bans, Fnatic going to take out the bat and getting rid of Resolution's Invoker, also getting rid of the Mirana, while Empire does not want to let Fnatic get their hands on Io, a team renowned for continuing to run the hero to great effectiveness, also banning out the Enigma. Welcome in once again, Trouf, to break down the draft and, of course, lend his insight analysis to the whole series. But, yeah, man, yesterday, Fnatic... we didn't see Fnatic in action yesterday, but leading up to yesterday, Alliance had kind of been up and down, and of course Fnatic will be taking them on later on. But we were beginning to see a lot of these teams that started out slow, like Alliance, Empire getting back to even after dropping 0-2 in the Western Challenge. And now we'll see if it's going to be Fnatic's turn. You think they've got what it takes to get things back on track?
Yeah, I think so, and these first 2 picks are pretty damn strong. So the cool thing about the D2L here is that all these teams are so evenly matched. I mean, these are the top tier teams in the Western scene, and it's just very fun to watch them go head to head because anything can happen, so to speak, in a best of 3. So It's very even, very balanced, and it's, for that sake, it's very fun to watch. But for that sake, it's also teams that you expect to do very, very well can also drop down with not so great scores. Look at Liquid; they have really not performed, unfortunately, in this format. But that's just the way it goes. That's the way the cookie crumbles. One thing I wanted to mention as we start up the draft here pretty quickly is the one thing I fear now with getting really into this metagame and into this patch is that we're starting to see a lot of the same heroes picked up in the first two positions and
Right.
banned every single game. I'm trying to fish for things in my head to say, oh yeah, well, Ember and Ancient Apparition. Well, that's great. Like, obviously it's fantastic, and then we see
Right.
Doom and Dazzle on the other side. So you know what I'm very interested to see is what happens after the next patch comes out. I haven't even seen the patch notes, but that'll be interesting to see. But since I should comment on this, Ember Ancient Apparition, very, very strong for Fnatic. I don't know if they run Ember mid. Most likely that seems to be the best thing for teams to run Ember mid, although we did see Na'Vi yesterday run it as a safe lane carry, which was going to be off lane for Fnatic, but then they switched things around. So nonetheless, he's versatile. And then for Team Empire, Doom, Dazzle, and they love their Luna, and they love their Doom. So, and you were mentioning standout players. I agree with you. I think Resolution is just really, really impressed me in the mid lane lately.
Oh yeah, I mean he's one of those guys that everyone, you would see him play, and I honestly, for the life of me, can't remember where he was before Empire, but I know I saw him play before, and he's one of those guys you tag in your head. It's like, yeah, pro level, but now that he's found a nice stable home and he's playing consistently, especially over the last months or so, he has really, really gotten the recognition he deserved. And I can remember that happening with a lot of players. No Tail was kind of that way to an extent, and it took a couple of games on Meepo for him to finally get noticed the way that he deserved. And I could go down pretty much every team in the West and name at least one player who just seemed to fly under the radar for a long time and then finally get noticed. Like, yeah, he's pretty freaking good. But like you said, just to build on your point, it's the fact that it's coming to tournament season. I mean, you're coming up to all of these gigantic tournaments with, of course, the International being the crown jewel amidst all of it. And as you get closer to all of this, teams are beginning to I won't say stop experimenting. They're just experimenting a lot less. And you're starting to see them settle onto things that they like and that fit their overall approach to the game, and that they feel after weeks and weeks of practice and messing around are just always going to be strong picks. Ember, Ancient Apparition, as you said, certainly fit into that. Doom is a hero that I think we're going to see picked much more consistently early on, just because he's one of those heroes you can do so much with. You can jungle him, you can offlane him, hell, you can mid him, you can carry him if you want to. You can put him wherever you want, and he's going to give you what he's going to give you. You can get him far ahead, try to get a Radiance up, or you can just play that, honestly, my favorite style of Doom, get up a mechanism, and then just go pure teamfight items. Get a Shivas, get drums, get Vlads, get whatever you want, maybe a Blink Dagger if you really need the initiation, but he just shuts down heroes like Ember Spirit. Or just for example, if they had given Puck away, or for whatever reason Fnatic had selected Puck along with the Ember Spirit, now you've got a counter to both of them, and now you've got a way to deal with at least one in each fight. So Empire, very well rounded right now. Seems kind of clear what they're going to do, but kind of not. Empire, I mean, when you see the Doom picked up, they do run it out of the jungle and out of the off lane fairly frequently, much more frequently compared to other teams. But looks like Fnatic just wants a strong laning phase. They get the Shadow Demon to go with the AA.
Yeah, I think, and then touching really quickly on the Doom point here, is that for the longest time, they knew that Doom was a great hero. They knew that his ultimate was the best in the game, but they were scared to pick him because they thought their lanes would be crappy, and if they jungled him, they thought they'd get the other team would get aggressive on them, and then Doom wouldn't get anything. But teams are starting to realize that you don't have to jungle him, and you can run him as an off lane and then move to the jungle. You can run him as mid, and even though he's not the best laner, he actually has good regen with his Scorched Earth, so he's hard to kill.
Right.
He can always come back with farm with Devour, as we see Hovost, who struggled immensely in the beginning, but then still ends up being the top GPM at 22 minutes. So yeah, people realize that you can actually lane him, even though he's not the best laner. And then once you get to that mid game, he's just a beast with his. Honestly, it's like the best ultimate in the entire game.
Oh yeah,
it completely shuts down a hero. That's why heroes like Chen are so good against Doom. And Fnatic, well, they have two supports, so they're not going to pick Chen. But I do know that they run Chen. I know that Alliance runs Chen, and it's a good tool against specifically Doom. You can throw whoever gets doomed on your team back to the well, and then you just go on with your merry day. But Puck, Luna, and Doom, I like these cores here for Empire. I think that's also the issue with Doom, is making sure that he's not your only core, because if he is, you just go on him, and then the rest of the team, and then you just have a field day with the rest of the team. But when you have other heroes in the front line that need to be focused, like Luna and Puck, then you can't necessarily use all your spells on Doom, because then Luna and Puck will have a good time. So yeah,
I think that's really where Doom has found his strength, is just being that big walking liability. He pops Scorched Earth, he gets off the Doom, then he just wanders around a fight because he tends to pick up R items or big team fight items. Mech, Pipe, As I mentioned, Shivas, Vlad's, drums, whatever. It's one of those things where he's not going to be, well, most of the time anyway, he's not going to be the one that you need to focus down. He's not going to be the big damage dealer, but you can't leave him up either. If you leave him up, you're just making the fight that much harder regarding every other hero. So, yeah, I think we're both definitely on board the Doom train. But Fnatic and Empire ready to show us their 5th picks up. Fnatic ostensibly, I mean, you know, when it comes to where they want to run the Ember, that's really what's going to determine what's coming out next. Is it going to be Hani? Is it going to be Era that runs it, or are they going to even do something even more wonky? For Empire, yeah, they're just going to go ahead and grab a Bane. Now, Bane's a really fun choice for them. You think they have some options to deal with the Ember Spirit. They can Doom him. Yeah. They can silence him with Waiting Rift. They can Fiend's Grip him. Yeah, this is... I actually really like the way that Dazzle's going to fit into this, too. The Luna, especially if Doom ends up being the mech carrier, and looking at their team, he would make the most sense to do so. Just put Dazzle in the 5 support kind of a role, then let Bane get up a few core items. But you know, Bane tends to be way back at the back of the fight because he wants the Fiend's Grip, and Dazzle's kind of the same way. He wants to bail you out, get off his weave and such. And Doom as a mech carrier makes sense. They're actually going to have a deceptive amount of push and very solid initiation to push towers. But speaking of both, Fnatic going to have a tool to deal with it as they pick up the Slardar for Era.
I'm not sold on the Slardar pick. Before it, I was thinking maybe Empire could run aggressive with Dazzle, Luna, Bane, because that's pretty damn good. Lots of damage. They're all ranged heroes. Might be a little bit difficult against Slardar, so maybe they won't do that. They'll just have a Doom off lane. And yeah, it's Mag playing the Doom. But in general, Slardar against these heroes, it's very bad against Puck Coil. It's bad against Bane because Bane can either sleep you or grip you. Dazzle can slow you with the poison touch. They just have maneuvers against him. So I guess Blink can kind of remedy those problems, but yeah, I'm not sold on the Slardar pick. I think a ranged tier would have maybe been better against the tools that Empire has, or maybe just I don't know. Maybe they proved me wrong, but I'm not sold on the Slardar pick here. I was gonna mention one other thing. Oh yeah, as far as just counters to Ember, like Puck is so good. Because even though if he has the what's that spell called, the Flame Guard up, and the Waning Rift doesn't too much damage, it still silences him for a good 3 seconds. That's a long time to make something happen, and then you coil on top of it and keep him in place. So I like the picks here. I like the draft. I think a little bit better here from Empire.
I agree with you, and they are going to aggressive tri lane. At least it would seem that that's the case right now, as they already have Dazzle, Bane, and Luna up towards the top lane. I'll tell you what's going to make this twice as hard, and this is what I was talking about. They are going to be running the Slardar mid, and I feel like this is the right call to make, but still, having the Enfeeble on the Bane even in this lane, and he'll probably skill Nightmare first just so he can have it to set up to set up attacks, but if they decide to go a little less aggressive at level 1, they skill Enfeeble. It's going to be very hard for Hani with just base 54 attack damage to really do a whole lot in terms of lasting. He can use Sleight of Fist at one point, but that's not an infinitely spammable skill early on. He's going to have mana issues, so definitely feel like Empire should be coming out ahead in terms of try on try. But for now, the horn blows and the creeps are spawned. Doesn't look like, the rune. I didn't even see what it was or who picked it up. Going to guess it was denied by one of our tri-lane heroes. But nonetheless, take a look at who's handling who. It'll be Mag taking our Doom into the solo safe lane. Puck will be played by Resolution. He'll be going into mid as expected. It'll be Always Want to Fly, joined by Vanscore on Bane and Dazzle respectively, while Silent farms up the Luna. Other side of the river, we got Fly and Hani already up front. Hani's on our Ember Spirit. He'll be trying to farm Fly on the Ancient Apparition. Behind him, you can find Always Want to Fly. Or excuse me, setting up. Yeah, I actually clicked the wrong hero, but you find Always Want to Fly getting into position, so we'll keep an eye on this just in case they want to go. He did put his first point into Nightmare, but for now, the other support is we've gone into the mid. There's Ancient Apparition, going to be Nightmare and taken off. Silent kind of borked that. He right-clicked on him, apparently meant to click past him to get closer, ended up clicking on him and taking the Nightmare onto himself, so a bit of a flub there early.
That was a free kill. Action.
Yeah.
Fuck, he's going to be okay. He should be fine in this mid lane. Whoa, that was a kind of a big blunder there. That should have been a really free kill because there's not really anything Ember can do. He can use Syrian Chains, but that's about it. It maybe stops them from getting some extra auto attacks in, but they're all ranged heroes, so yeah. Kind of a big blunder. Oh well, it happens. Now, I do not know about this dual lane safe lane here, though, from Fnatic. Puck is should never really die unless, well, actually there is decent damage between disruption and the actually, speaking of that, here we go. If you can get the stun, Soul Catcher thumbs out.
always.
It's gonna be so close.
Oh, he phase shifted it. One last auto. Oh, the salve, just enough to keep him up and running. Yeah, I was gonna say, hang on to top. We're gonna have it once again. Taken off by Fly. There's going to be the Lucid Beam and the Shadow Wave secures first blood. And that was interesting the way they did that. They basically three-man rushed him and surrounded him just to get the Shadow Wave damage. But we can see how unbelievably potent Shadow Wave, even at just level 2, just 1 point place for Vanscore. If you can get that many people surrounding an enemy, you can just blow them up. And first blood ends up going to Empire, even though Fnatic came very close. But yeah, this is kind of chancy for them. If they don't kill the puck adequately enough and he's able to get a few more levels up, they're going to have a harder and harder time, and they're just not going to be able to kill him, and they're going to end up really slowing down Slarder's level game, while Puck is just going to be gaining tons of levels on top of him.
Yeah, and Era and No-Tail pretty much did as best as they could. Like, the Soul Catcher hit, they set everything up, nice stun from Slardar, but it was so damn close, so well played by Resolution. Popping the salve there in the meantime, amidst the double phase shift throughout all of that. So really, really well played by Resolution. And top lane, yeah, I figure that's just going to happen all the time. And if it's not happening, well, Hani's not getting farmed. So in the meantime, they're trying to get something done here. Bottom, Mag, he might get both.
Yep, looks like they want to. Here comes the AA, and there's Chilling Touch. Trixie cut back a little bit. And here we go. Surge on the fly. Mag's going to loop in front. And they're still going to pursue him out. Here comes the TP. Now Trixie's at half health. That's going to be Vanscore landing in. Good disruption to disjoint things a little bit. Mag just being chewed away by the Ion Shell. Vanscore's there with the Shadow Wave. Gets off the Poison Touch on the Trixie. Now making for... he's going to have to grave himself preemptively. Trixie's right on him, though, so that's a for sure kill. Mag... Or he's going to get trapped by the creeps! Oh, cue the Benny Hill music. Somehow Vanscore still... Oh, my God, Fly died. Fly died to the tower.
No, that was No-Tail.
Oh, yeah, No-Tail, rather. But...
Oh, no.
And Era now engaging on a Resolution here in mid. No-Tail's back up. But yeah, the Shadow Demon dropping behind the tower up at top. Okay, I thought Hani was going to get dove again. What? There's really only so many terms, and none of them I want to use on stream because I like to keep it family friendly. That was just absolutely a mess for Fnatic in that bottom lane.
Well, it was a good TP rotation by Vanscore.
Yeah.
And he had the extra gold by getting... I don't know if he got first blood in the beginning. No, but he has an assist. Actually, did he get an assist? No, he got one assist. They didn't get an assist from the kill on No-Tail. But so he had some extra gold in his pocket. And it was just like Mag was saying, TP bottom, we can maybe...
Initiation to mid. Here comes the TP off. Resolution's very low. Can they catch him? He phase shifts out of those last auto attacks. And Shadow Wave is there. Vanscore is just playing medic for hire, basically. He's just teleporting into every lane as a rescue squad anytime something happens, but it's working out. And Empire sits on top of a 3-0 lead. We can see up at top, Hani is having a lot of trouble getting anything done. In fact, when I say trouble, how about 1 CS at 5 minutes in trouble?
Yeah, it's not his fault. He's just got a terrible lane, and it's very difficult for him to get CS. Mid lane, though, there's just a lot of problems with, I think, the draft and the lane setups here for Fnatic. Like, they can't kill Puck, although they've come very close, but Resolution's just been doing a baller job here, and he's also got more CS, 17 to the 10 from the dual lane Slardar, so he's doing actually even better.
Nightmare.
Down bottom.
On to Hani. Let's see if they want to do something with it. They're trying to wait on some help. There's going to be the Searing Chains that locked him down. TP's coming in. Hani's going to make it away with just a little bit of health. Crush catches only always want to fly, but Hani made it away with maybe 50 HP. And, you know, as good as Fnatic's beginning to do to try to teleport around and react now, too, I mean, Era bailing out Hani's a pretty big deal. They're taking a lot of time and losing a lot of efficiency in terms of golden level gain. And they just need the counterpunch, and they need to do it soon, because now you see Resolution's having his way with Fly. He's going to continue to just get gold and levels. He's going to be a huge liability, and they've yet to do anything to really stop Mag, who's already level 7.5 at this point. Yeah,
that's a good point. They're moving around, and the problem, too, is that their cores just aren't as good in the late game as Empires are. Doom, Luna, and Puck. Like, Puck is actually very, very good in late game with lots of farm. Resolution might be a little bit of trouble. Nope, he uses a fast phase shift. Oh, no, it's just a deny. It sounded like he was going to use the phase shift, but the same audio thing sounded like a phase shift. But anyway, yeah, their cores just aren't as good, I think, as Empires, and Empires just getting so many more last hits here. Obviously, Ember's fantastic in the late game, but he's getting shut down here pretty hard. As you mentioned, he's still only got 2 CS here.
Yep. Brown boots and a stout shield. That's the life of Hani right now. And Silent, as you can see, is in considerably better shape, to put it mildly. Already has a Bassi off, his Aquila up momentarily, and he has Treads up. And if they can get a couple of kills here, maybe that'll get things back on track. Down at bottom, there's a Doom on the Trixie. Mag's right on him. And using his phase boost to chase him down, he's just going to take the free damage and be turned away. And the TP's actually canceled. That in and of itself, I mean, that's 135 gold wasted.
Yeah, and that's 135 gold that they desperately need to.
Yep.
I was wondering why Mag did...
Always want to fly. Disrupted Soul Catcher's there. Can they follow it up? Chilling Touch will allow them to get the kill, and they will be able to take that one for free, as it looks like, yeah, Empire thought maybe they might teleport someone up, but didn't. Probably the right call, just a little bit of overextension, but this is the right call for them. They need to get Ember some space. He has to be able to get his farm together soon, or he's going to be completely irrelevant in the mid game.
Yeah, I think the elephant in the room here is, like, why didn't Fnatic just go, you know, safe lane, tri lane the Slardar and Ember mid? I don't know why they were trying to do something fancy. Slardar's... the idea, I guess, was to shut down Puck, and here we go. They're trying once again. Puck, nope, he gets the silence, actually gets a counter still on no kill, and shots out of there. Oh, what a disaster.
And they're not done. Always want to fly is right there. There's the Nightmare. Resolution's going to loop back around. And waiting at the top. Yep. What do you do? Brain sap plus the orb. And down he goes up at top. We might have a dive on the fly as well, as Empire is just piling it on. Yep, there's the Shadow Wave, and a couple of auto attacks later. That's another kill. No reaction because they really just don't have the opportunity to do so. Everyone's dead or hurting. Trixie's hoofing it up, and in the meantime, the Puck get in. Okay, Bottle Regenerate. I saw his name pop. I was saying get another kill, but always want to fly with another Nightmare. Here comes Vanscore. Silent coming out as well. Has Eclipse if he has to use it. Will not have to use it, as auto attacks are more than sufficient. 7-1. 8 kills piled up in 8 minutes, but this is not even close to an even game. 5,000 gold advantage as of right now, in excess of that, actually, for Empire. And Fnatic is just seeming frayed and torn all over this map.
The Bane has 400 more net worth than the Slardar. That's how bad things are going for Fnatic. I don't know. Their idea must have been that they can keep killing Puck over and over in mid.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen. And even if they did, I still think Puck gets good CS and like complete 100% of the experience in mid.
Yep.
So I don't know why they didn't do something more standard. And I know that Fnatic does get, if anything, they get criticized for trying to do something too far outside of the box, and that's okay. But it never seems to work for them, at least in the last month or so.
Yep.
That I've been seeing some very interesting lanes. I don't think their draft was bad. I think the Slardar pick was. It was questionable, but it was manageable.
Silent. Oh, he got off the Eclipse. If he gets any help at all, they'll get return kills. For now, though, yep, just going to be a 1-0, and no one was on the way. So even though they ate a lot of damage, and No Tail came one Lucent Beam away for being a 1-for-1 trade, that's about as good of a kill as they could have asked for. Just spotting Silent out, being a little too far out from his safe zone, and finally they get a good one on the board, and that's going to level things off for the moment at least. Still 7,500 gold lead at 10 minutes in. That is... well, I mean, that's pretty simple math. 750 gold per minute lead that Empire has generated up to this point, and it could only get worse. As Trixie now caught with the Fiend's Grip, always want to fly, immaculately positioned, and the tower just pecking away at the creep, so they might even decide to begin pushing towers soon. And speaking of that, Mag has the mech done too, so he's going to be able to hook up with them, and they're going to be able to 5-push all over this map.
Honey might be in trouble. There is a... oh, he could have actually maybe killed him, because if he doomed and then really quickly ensnared afterwards, he has a double damage. If he ensnares and dooms, Honey's dead. Because there's a double damage on Mag. I wonder if he's going to go for this.
We can see it's
he definitely has a damage, but yeah.
4-push into mid. And Fnatic, I think they know this is not the time to challenge. They come out, they're going to be hurting. There's going to be, I heard, a Nightmare somewhere. Up behind the tower, that's where. Fly. Silenced out by the Waning Rift, and a disruption on the Silent. There's going to be a nice coil, though. Let's see if they can reinitiate. Wall goes down. Trixie doing what he can. There's a crush from Era. Now eating the right click coming out from Silent. Has up the helm of the Dominator already. There's another Nightmare. Tower drops in the meantime. Behind that, we hear Doom is hooked up into the fight. Trixie going to be retreating through his own tower, or through his own wall, rather. And now behind his own tier 2. And Mag's right behind him, though, has Scorched Earth up. There's going to be a Shadow Wave, and he got the net off. Trixie making a run for it. Always Want to Fly was right there. Mag gets caught with the Cold Feet proc. Era, though, going to get the crush off on Always Want to Fly. There's at least one return kill. Are they going to lose Era? Mag's right behind him. He's going to have to chase him. They get the Ancient Apparition at the side of the fight. And in the meantime, Puck has finished his Blink Dagger, too. And Era just sprinting away. Mag's not giving up the chase. He's got phase boost. Finally, he'll break off the pursuit. But another pretty big win for Empire. And Era doubling back. Mag's right there with him. Doesn't have a point in the level death, so can't get him from range with that. There's going to be Scorched Earth, though, and the orb from Resolution. Well shot and well killed as they bring down another score of Empire, or excuse me, of Fnatic, and take the tower at the same time. So 12 minutes in, we're coming up on 12,000 gold. This is, lopsided, I think, is putting it mildly.
When you dual lane the puck with the intention to shut him down very, very hard, and he has Tread's blink at 12 minutes, actually 11 minutes, he just had it come out to him. No Tail's probably dead here with a couple more auto attacks. No, he had a nice stick charge there, and they actually might be able to get a counter kill in a Resolution. Hani hits the triple
That's
and
good
nice
for
counter
them.
kill.
Yep, they needed that badly. Like, Fnatic's doing just enough to hang around and to keep it at least feeling reasonable. Now they might have a chance to get Always Want to Fly. Looks like they're scared there's going to be others there. Demonic Purge sets up the guaranteed ulti, and they'll get in with auto attacks. So Hani not even wanting to take the chance that help was on the way, just hung back and made sure that it took place. So Empire still more than doubling them up, but at least finding kills where they can. Down at bottom, though, Silent's going to split push.
Yeah, getting some nice counter kills, but obviously they're going to need a lot more. And the problem when you're behind against a Doom is that he farms so much faster with a Devour. Extra 100 bonus gold every single time he uses it. He's got his drums, he's got his mech, he's a beast, he's very tanky, and he has the best ultimate in the game, arguably. So, yeah, Empire's in a very, very good spot right here. But Fnatic still have some tools to fight, as they've got the experience down by 2,500 in that last little bit, so it's good for them.
Net worth, though, is getting out of hand, and not just by a little bit. You look at the three cores of Empire. The lowest of the three is Puck at 5,600. He's still just about 2K ahead of the Ember Spirit, and that's a lot of ground they have to make up, and they're going to be losing towers in the meantime. Now that the mech's up, and when you're beginning to see Mag put together these team fight items, it's just going to be so hard for them to deal with the 5 push of Empire. And Empire, I honestly think, can just push his 5 and slowly whittle the towers down, then take the jungle over and starve them out. And we'll see if that's going to end up being the plan. They've got Always Want to Fly, who's taking a bit of a roundabout path behind the tier 2 through the woods just north of the secret shop. And Hani's going to be caught. Beautiful coil waning rift. Doom onto the Ember. Down goes Darkseer. No Tails next. They may get Silent out of all this, but Hani should end up dead and will. And that's going to be 4 down and for nil. And Silent actually was bailed out by a fantastic grave by Vanscore. It looked like he was going to be the lone. And
team wipe.
Yep. They chased him back behind the tier 3s, and Always Want to Fly just going to teleport away. And this one honestly is in GG territory. Like, they're diving your tier 3s at sub 15 minutes and taking your tier 2s. Like, I don't even think there's a plan. And yeah, we've eclipsed the 1,000 gold per minute lead mark that they've generated. We're up now in excess of 14.5K.
Yep, Resolution finds the regen after popping the invis. Might look for another kill here, and yeah, the problem too is that Puck is so over leveled with a blink that he can pretty much solo down these supports unless they have like a 15 charge wand like No Tail had earlier. But it's just really bad. And again, even if Fnatic were on even ground as far as gold and experience goes, they're taking some damage. Not going to be enough, and Resolution spots that out, and he's just going to back out. But even if they were at even footing, like, I just don't know if the Slardar pick would be so effective against, the things I mentioned, which is like namely the puck coil, the sleep and everything. It would basically be you have to fight once Slardar gets a BKB. But even then, you can still grip him, you can still doom him. So I'm not 100% sold on the Slardar pick, but I think the biggest thing, though, I mentioned this, is I don't know why they just didn't try lane with the Slardar in the safe lane. I think that would have made it a lot better, because when I saw the Slardar, I was like, oh, okay, Empire can't really go aggressive, and they still went aggressive. I was like, oh, well, I feel like Fnatic's lane should be pretty strong with Disruption and AA's Chilling Touch, and Slardar's really good at level 1 through 3 engagements, but they tried something different, and it just didn't work, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm 100% on board. Ember and mid would have made a lot more sense, and they certainly would have gotten more out of the laning phase, but that was not the state of things. 16 minutes on the money, and Fnatic looking to get things turned around with a smoke. Empire's going to smoke right into them. We're actually going to see one teleport out, and this could be a 4-on-5. Big chance for Fnatic. Mag's going to run right forward. It gets crushed immediately, and they bring him down with absolutely no chance to react to the south. There's going to be a nightmare from Always Want to Fly. What damage he can do, Hani is doing with Sleight of Fist, but it's really not much. They're forced to pull back as they had sent Silent into mid. And no, it's actually Resolution they sent. Silent was hanging around. Now, Era caught with the Lucen's Beam. Vanscore going to toss out the Poison Touch. There's going to be Demonic Purge on the Vanscore. Era looking to get in a position. Searing Chains catches nothing but creeps. Always want to fly up on the high ground. Nightmare's one. Honey's going to run right past him. And there's going to be the Fiend's Grip. Disruption to disjoint it. Let's see if they can capitalize. Nonetheless, there's a crush, but it doesn't matter. Coil's there. Era drops in the river while the rest of Fnatic has to run. Trixie hit with a Lucid Beam from the low ground. Resolution can jump now. And going to opt to pursue out No Tail and Fly. Nope, not even going to jaunt to it. In the meantime, Trixie surging himself to safety up towards the top tier 2. So even though Fnatic got themselves a nice kill on Mag, they end up giving up Era at the back of it as they just kind of got kited and baited there by Empire. And talking about Silent, by the way, he is gigantic. His BKB is going to be done. It's in about 600 gold, give or take. And he already has a Yash up too. AA Ultimate will be on the mark, but I don't know that it's going to matter that much. Doom on the Hani, who was hanging around way too close, and the Eclipse, just in case. There was a disruption and No Tail trying to keep himself alive, but basically just melting. And Empire's giving us no lack of kills right now. Fnatic is just being run ragged.
Yeah, that was really good presence of mind, too, from, I think it was Puck who was pinging out Hani. They didn't even have vision of him there, but they saw him walk up through bottom after getting the double damage because they had a ward there, and they just expected him to be there. And they just, it was just good intuition from all of them. So Hani, unfortunately, like, wasn't even his fault. He just got, that was just like really good play by Empire. Comes an AA ult, he's going to hit actually all of them.
Nice 5-man AA ultimate. Trixie's going to come in and do what he can, however. Luna does get the Aegis, and Silent's going to be careful here. He ate some damage. Finally, it does end just in time, and all trying to track him down with the illusions from the Darkseer wall. So Trixie doing anything he can just to confound things a little bit. They're going to charge out as 5, and now's as good a time as any to try and catch someone. Mag's the one that seems to be the target. Hani's right there behind him. Searing Chains are ready. Yep, there's the Sleight of Fist and Searing Chains. And Demonic Purge, as well as the Remnant to jump on top of him. Mag likely to take a spill here, and will. And here comes Always Want to Fly. Was winding up for the Nightmare on Nahani, who was way deep, but looks like they're going to be happy to just let him go. But this is about the best they could really realistically expect, is just to get some picks here and there. Resolution's taking the highway, the high road, up and around tier 1 and on into the dire side jungle, while Silent just continues to farm. BKB is complete for him, by the way.
For Silent?
Yep.
Yeah, that's gonna be good for him. These disruptions have been very nice from No Tail, and honestly, they're at times you see like how strong their lineup can be, because they have so much damage with Chilling Touch from AA, and when the Soul Catcher hits, it's so much freaking damage. The bonus 50% damage. Oh, Resolution just having a field day now with the Dagon 2.
Tra-la-la.
Onto the poorer supports here for Fnatic, but it's just, I'm not going to keep saying it, but I just feel like, well, yeah, I told myself I'm not going to keep saying it, and I won't. So here we go. Empire's up top, and with the BKB, and Manta's up here, going to be up here for Silent here pretty shortly. And yeah, this is getting in the very scary
25. I think we surpassed that a while ago. 25,000 gold lead at 20 minutes into the game for Empire right now. And at this point, I mean, there's a limit as to what you can expect rat-wise. If Fnatic were able to come back here, wow, that was weird.
Did he get slept in the base?
Yeah,
he slept in the base.
That was that's weird. I've never seen that interaction before. It seems like it would be one or the other. Like it would not. I don't see how that took place. But anyway, yeah, if Fnatic was able to engineer some sort of a comeback, it would by far be the greatest comeback I've ever witnessed in Dota. And small as the group stage's D2L Western Challenge is, I still think it would be quite memorable. But 23-8, and it looks like Empire's about ready to start cracking tier 3s. Era, by the way, is still looking for a Blink Dagger. He has up his casual cloak and a set of treads, and that's about it. And then Silent, on the other hand, Yasha, BKB, Helm of the Dominator, Aegis, treads, the whole shebang. And there's a BKB even now done for Doom, so, and another Dagon upgrade for Puck. So Resolution, okay, let's put it this way. Resolution, just with the Dagon, is going to hit for 600 damage. The total health of Ancient Apparition, played by Fly, is 663.
Yeah.
Here we go, rushing up, A ultimate on the way. That'll connect on a couple. They might try to make something happen behind that. Resolution went in to try and do some damage and was able to do so, bringing down No Tail in the process. And the rest of Empire just looking to reset and push with the next wave. Earn charges, Shadow Wave, Mech, Wand charges, basically whatever damage Fnatic wants to do is negated immediately.
Look at the net worth chart. That's the scary thing in this game. Every single person on Empire has more net worth than every person on Fnatic. But Fnatic is a team, and you have to give them some credit. They like playing out to the end, and I think that's respectable.
Tier 3 down. Fnatic looking for an opening. Doing what damage they can. But, I mean, they honestly can't even get close. They need to wait on an AA ultimate. That will be there. There's the Demonic Purge with the BKB is there. In the meantime, Eclipse is popped. Era brought down after one crush. Vacuum into the wall. Does about as much as it's going to do, which is very little when you're trailing by this much. Hani's doing what damage he can. Caught with the poison touch. GG's called as Hani is doomed. There's going to be 2 more going down, and they'll chase down Fly if they have time. Looks like they're going to give it a shot. Will he make it a full 5? Nope. They kept one standing. But pretty much nothing else went the way of Fnatic this entire match. 28-8. And by the time play concluded, in excess of 27,000 gold lead accrued by Empire. And
that's got to be a record at this time.
It's up there, man. Like there have been a few times that I have seen that 1K a minute mark, like so far as generating a lead and such. There have been a few times I've seen that hit. Well, probably more than a few. I'd say in the last 2.5, 3 years, I've probably seen it 24 times or so, maybe a little bit more. But to see it held and to see it exceeded to this extent, but a lot of that, in fairness, does have with Fnatic just holding on as long as they felt like they could. I mean, a lot of times teams just GG at like 12 minutes because they're already, 15K behind. But
right.
Regardless, a very nice win for Empire. The draft, I think, is the MVP. I think we can both agree on that. The draft and the laning choice resolution, 12-1 on his puck. Fantastic play from him. 5-1-11 from Silence Luna. Not too shabby. I mean, you could go down the list. Even Dazzle, even though 1-1-10 doesn't sound all that impressive, he was everywhere he needed to be in the early phase. Just a great team effort.
Yeah, and a couple things. Like, you can say, well, maybe this dual lane didn't work, but then you can also say Resolution played it perfectly. Like, which one is it? Is it the dual lane didn't work, or is it he just played so well that it should have worked, but it didn't because he outplayed us? But as a drafter, you don't want to, as Fly, the drafter, you don't want to say like, oh, well, this lane should work, but he just outplayed us. Like,
right.
That should never happen. It should be this lane will work, period. And he can't outplay us no matter how good he plays.
Right.
So it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of the lane wasn't exactly strong enough, but it was also Resolution just played it so well in mid. But I don't think as a drafter you want to set yourself up to be, to have that actually as a possibility that we could get outplayed,
Right.
But aside from that fact, I think that if they just went the tri-lane top and did the quote-unquote standard thing with the AA, SD, Slardar top, I think they actually would have had a really good time against the Luna tri-lane. It is a scary tri-lane with triple range and a nice sleep setup, but I think that it had the tools to combat it definitely. And Ember is a great mid, so yeah. Unfortunately, I just think they did the wrong lane assignment, the wrong lane assignments for Fnatic.
Yep.
It is early, by the way.
Yes, it is very early, but so happy to have each and every one of you along, especially our European brothers and sisters. You're like, it's early. It's like, ain't that early. Yeah, it's like It's super early here in the States on the West Coast. But nonetheless, game 1 is behind us, and Empire takes a 1-0 lead here in our first of 2 series featuring Fnatic as they'll meet Alliance following the conclusion of this. I'm your host, Aaron AC Chambers. We'll be right back with game number 2 coming up in just a moment. This is our doubleheader for today. We will be back in action on the D2L Western Challenge tomorrow for 1 best-of-3. Then we're going to have a little bit of downtime. We've been working very closely with the major tournament organizers, with a lot of the teams to make sure that the schedules aren't too much of a cluster, for lack of a better way to put it. But we'll be bringing you updated schedules as well. Just keep in mind, again, another best-of-3 will be following this one when it reaches the conclusion, which could be next if Empire is able to close things out. Fnatic, though, going to be interested in showing us a Game 3. We'll see which can do what. Coming up here on the Western Challenge. Stick with us. We'll be right back.